Your reasons for listening to the show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen.
Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. I don't prep for a lot of interviews. I like to go into interviews where I don't know a lot, but I was very fascinated about my next guest. Mr. Tim, is it Tim Lagman?
That's
Lagman?
correct.
All right,
Lagman,
Lagman. See, I that's always something I do at the beginning of the show. I usually butcher people's like names and pronunciations and stuff. Tim, how are you today?
Not so bad. How are you, Tuddle?
Good, wonderful. Where are you calling from, Tim? You're up in the Canada area, right?
That's right. The Great White North, the frozen tundra. My
Is it
balls
really?
are frozen. Yeah, it's.
Oh,
Like,
they are.
I don't know how many it is in Fahrenheit, but it's like -3 here. So what is that, like 20?
Well. I think your freezing is 0, right? So
yeah, so
our-
30s in you. Yeah.
Yeah, ours is 32 degrees is freezing here. You know, we're just stupid Americans that we don't want to like do anything that the rest of the world is doing.
Come on, catch up with the metric system already. Jesus
yes,
Christ.
exactly. But no, we just all have to be hard-headed here in America. We're like, yeah, we're number one here, and if everybody just needs to go by our measurement, that's all that needs to happen. Now, Tim, see, I already know I'm gonna like you because you laugh at some of my jokes. So, Tim, before we get into the interview, tell my audience, my supporters, a little bit about yourself and where people can check out any of the content that you've got going on.
Sure. So, hey, everyone. My name is Tim. I'm a certified sex educator based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I have a podcast called The Sex Ed with Tim. And I just talk about literally anything sex and relationships and love and all that gross emotional stuff.
Do you ever
I
talk
have a
about
lot.
current events? Like, I mean, if there's something big that comes up, do you ever like touch on stuff like that, or do you try to just keep it in those parameters?
Current events in the sense that like there's pop culture stuff.
Yeah,
that
that's
has
what I was
something
talking
to do.
about. Gossip, like somebody
Yeah.
bitching at each other. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, so like right now, I'm kind of planning an episode on how the fuck Nick Cannon has 8 children.
Is
Jesus
he? Wait,
Christ.
let me ask you though. Like, what is the allure about Nick Cannon? Like, I'm a heterosexual man, and I'm very comfortable, and I can be like, you know what, it's a good looking dude. He's pretty funny, but I kind of find him annoying a little bit though.
Well, I am thankful that you shared your heterosexuality with me. That is very brave of you.
I'm sorry. No, but what I'm saying though is like, okay,
I'm kidding,
you
I'm
know
kidding.
what? See, I
No,
love
he's
that
not.
you put me on the spot. I love that. Tim, I love having my balls busted, and you just put me right on the spot, and I love it, Tim, because, you know, like I spent most of my radio career in Orlando. Central Florida is one of the biggest gay communities, LGBTQ. Now, let me ask you, how come on your website you did not include the Q in your LGBT?
Oh, so, I mean, that's just me being lazy. Q is fine. Like, include that there.
I didn't know. I didn't know if there was some like reasoning behind it. Like,
Oh
you're not
no,
screwed.
I'm just lazy. LGBT is usually like the first 4 letters that everybody knows, and then
Yeah, it's,
because like
fuck that fifth.
QUTYA,
Fuck
and it's
that
like,
fifth.
oh my god, whatever. But yeah, it's just sorry.
I'm sorry. I won't go out on a limb and profess my heterosexuality anymore. Okay, I won't do that. You know, it's kind of like just proclaiming I love air. Something,
Well,
you know.
it's very brave of you, Tuddle. Thank you so much for disclosing that. Not many of us are that courageous to disclose heterosexuality. No, but to go back to your first question, Sex
No,
Ed
but
Tim, Sex
what
Ed-
is it about Nick Cannon though? Like what is it? Like he was with Mariah Carey there for a little bit.
You know what? I have no friggin' idea. Maybe he's just like, I want as many kids as possible. I just want to like come inside as many women as I want. And I am so turned on by paying for child support. Maybe that's his thing. He just likes having lots of kids and never being around for them. I don't know.
Is
It's
that a
just
power
interesting.
thing though? Is it a power? I mean, you are a sex educator. Is that a power thing for a man though?
Uh,
Like to not use protection, to finish inside of a woman and have kids. Does it show off your masculinity
I
by the amount of
mean,
kids you have?
well, you see, if you look back at when we were like cavemen, hunter gatherers and stuff, men have always been obsessed with something called paternity certainty, which means they better be sure that their kids are theirs. So that means they gotta have, you know, all these kids, and so that they can continue their legacy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
Like
I look, I'm a big believer in evolution, and a lot of the mess up things that we do as human beings are all just because of that primordial ooze that we still have in our brain somewhere. It says we got to live like animals.
yeah. So basically, yeah, that paternity certainty is what makes us, or at least guys and whoever wants to have sex with women, they want to like have as many kids as possible, make sure that it's there so that they can pass on their property, their wealth, their legacy, so that they can continue to live on. So that's probably why Nick Cannon is going out and having as many kids as possible. I mean, look at my, like, if you look at my family tree, we're like a family of sex workers, and
Really?
my grandfather and two or three generations before him, there were like 17 siblings. So
Wow.
that's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of
It's almost
fucking.
like polygamous, like having a bunch of wives and a bunch of kids and stuff. Now, Tim, one of the things I wanted to get into because I find it very interesting says on your website you were an escort. Now, by escort, do we mean escort, or like are you going to play it off like, oh, they just hired me to go out and be eye candy or just like an accessory, and there is no sex involved. Now, as an
No,
escort, like, was it an escort? Were you 100% an escort?
no, as in an escort, as in like I will walk you out through the door. I will escort you. No, I'm kidding. An escort, as in like I was arm candy. I was a fuck toy. I was everything and anything under the sun that my clients needed me to do.
Wow. Now okay, so you see in the movies and there's a lot of things that are based in truth when you see stuff.
Pretty woman.
Well, not well, yeah. Did somebody like try to slam your hand in a
My
jewelry
literal
box?
box. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I went,
Ah! But let me ask you though, it was some of the clientele, and I know like you don't want to. I'm not asking you to divulge any like info about them, but like, was it straight powerful businessmen that sometimes wanted the to be anonymous when it came to their preference?
uh,
Is that something that you've seen though? Like it is heterosexual men that are powerful and rich that are kind of undercover or are not out as gay men.
it's not just men, actually. It was also the women I
Oh,
served.
it was.
Yeah, so it was
Wow.
mainly my clientele back in the day were the upper echelon of society, the one percenters. They were like up the corporate ladder. And when it came to the guys, I don't really know if they were straight or gay. That's up to you. I'm just here to do whatever it is you wanted me to do. But like, I would go up into their elevator, land into like this big office with a marble floor, and they would like close the windows and lock the door because that's their quote unquote lunch break. And I'm like, all right, I'm here, whatever to do for your lunch break. Uh, right. So yeah, like there were a lot of like big, powerful people, and they wanted like, I don't know, company, sex,
What was there just
whatever.
some of those people that they just wanted you to be there, like
Yeah.
somebody to talk to?
Yep. I had one client, my very first client actually was a woman who just wanted me to be there for her and just bitch about her grandkids.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
she'd be like, little Johnny, little Johnny,
Never
he's a
calls
real
me
asshole.
anymore.
Yeah, he's a real asshole. He doesn't call me anymore. And you know what though? That would be kind of cool because I guarantee you she was like asking you, like, should I cut little Johnny out of the will? Like, does little Johnny deserve to be in the will anymore? And you could be like, oh my God, I got all this power like at my fingertips right now. And
Put me in the will.
put me in the will. You know
Put
what?
me in
Fuck
the
little
will.
Johnny. Johnny hasn't come and visited you. Guess what? Little
Yeah,
Johnny's
he's an
right here.
asshole. He's a fucking
Yes.
prick. I'm the one here
Yes.
listening to you and your
Yes.
problems. I care
Yeah.
more about you. So give
You
me
wouldn't
your
even
$1
have
million.
to pay me. I'd be here no matter what.
As long as
Now,
you give me my $1 million.
Now, Tim, what was the weirdest thing that was ever requested?
Oh God, I get that question a lot, and that is very difficult to answer because there were all, well, not they were all, there were a lot of weird requests.
Does it take a lot to shock you?
Now it does. Back then, I was like, not so much. But like, I feel like I've seen anything and everything under the sun. But if I say that, I feel like I'm gonna jinx myself. So I have seen requests that involved live animals, food, really weird role play with corpses.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Wait a minute. Hold on, back up here. Now, are we talking about somebody that was like a mortician, or something that worked at a funeral home, or somebody that was a one of those people that medical examiners like did you get hired by Dr. G, the medical examiner that used to have that TV show on A&E to come over?
I mean, I did have sex with someone at a funeral parlor. I just didn't know what they were doing. I knew that they worked there. But in terms of the corpse role play, you
had to act dead. I know.
Yeah,
okay.
he wanted me to act dead, and then he would like bust out his plastic knives and just like pretend to cut me open and like pretend to like fuck the newly created hole he made in my chest, that little Y incision that you see on TV. I'm like, all right, sure. I mean, you're not really cutting me open, but go ahead.
Oh man, look, Tim, this is the way that I look at it. Okay. I've always felt like as long as somebody wasn't being forced into doing something that they didn't want to do or stuff with minors, I really don't think anybody should judge. Like, a lot of these Christians and stuff, they all want to, judge people for what they do in the bedroom. But have you ever noticed, like, the ones that protest the most are the ones that are the kinkiest, and they end up getting found out, like, when it all comes out. Am I right or wrong by saying that?
No, it's pretty accurate because it's those ones that have a lot of shame and a lot of like internalized self-hate that they start to project onto others. It's like, why do you get to live your best sexual life and I don't? Because I'm ashamed of this. So like they'll put it on to other people. Like the ones who have the nastiest, dirtiest, kinkiest sides are the ones that are like, oh, ban abortion and premarital sex. And it's like, you realize you're paying me to like shit in your mouth, right?
Jesus. Okay, well, I mean, I get that. Now, Tim, before we move on, once again, right now on the line with me is Tim Lagman. Now, Tim, tell my audience once again, if they want to check out your podcast, how can they do that?
Yeah, so my podcast is Sex Ed with Tim on all streaming platforms, and you can also check out my website, sexedwithtim.com. Twitter and Instagram are also at sexedwithtim.
So this is a question when I was, it was just a question that came up into my head, and I had this discussion. You got to realize I've spent most of my life here in the deep south of the United States. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people down here, they're not open-minded. They're really, really not, which is very disappointing.
No way. In the Bible Belt? Really?
Well, we're worse than the Bible Belt. But you know what? The thing about Florida, because I'm in Florida, the further south into Florida you go, the more north it gets. If you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
It's it's more open. If people are more understanding in South Florida than a lot of people in North Florida per se.
Okay.
But so you are a licensed sex education you could teach sex education because you have your license in it, correct?
Yeah, certified.
Now, like if you came here to Florida in the South, which I would have no problem, because the way that I look at it is, when we were taught sex education in 6th, 7th, 8th, that middle school area, women were teaching the boys about penises and stuff. And, like it was, the female teachers could teach about vaginas. Do you think like it would be a big deal, like if you were a sex educator, you were brought in to talk to middle schoolers? Do you really think like society would be acceptable of that? Which I think I would have no problem with it at all. But it's just sad that a lot of people would. It's like, oh no, we can't have that.
I mean, I hope that if I teach in a classroom, whoever's supervising the kids will allow me to talk about the parts of the body. But I don't see what the big deal is. The world's not going to burn if I talk about the difference between a penis and a vagina the same way we talk about arms and legs. Like, there's a whole song where you go head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Why not include penis and vagina in that song too? It's parts of the body, right? No one's gonna fucking lose their shit because I said penis and vagina or anus. That's what we call it. So
should anal sex be taught in sex education to kids?
Yes. Not kids. Not kids.
I was just asking. I mean, that people are gonna try it in their teenage years.
That's the thing. I mean, like I don't recommend talking to like toddlers about anal sex.
No, of course not.
No, but like, like in high school when they start to get more curious, because I have seen teenagers already ask about what a blowjob is, what does cunnilingus mean. So there are age appropriate topics to talk about sex when it comes to like what to talk about with each age group. But if they get curious, I think the best way is to just be honest. And if you don't know what to talk about, then say, I honestly don't know, but I'll go look it up for you and we'll look at it together and we can explore this topic, and we'll learn more with each other. So not a big deal. Like say,
but it is sad though. It is sad though that a lot of people would have a problem though with that.
Quite sad.
Yeah, no, it is. And like I got relatives and stuff like, oh, I don't think gay men or gay women should be able to adopt kids. And I'm like, what are you talking about? No, I was like, look, how many well, I mean, for example, look at how many kids that are just completely fucked up. And guess what? Those were heterosexual people that had those kids. So I've never understood that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? The logic just does not make any sense.
Plus, like the foster system is like overloaded right now, isn't it? Like, shit. And also the whole adoption process like costs a lot of money. So like,
we should just be giving them away. Like,
these are kids that just need a fucking home. These are kids that just want loving parents or parents, whoever. Like, just fucking do it. Make it easier. Don't leave them in the system and they won't have a parental figure to look up to. Fuck.
Tim, you also want to know why it's a problem though, because I've seen it happen here. It's the smear campaign that a lot of people want to relate gay people to pedophilia, and that's completely wrong.
Jesus Christ.
No, but that's that happens.
Yeah, I know. So, which is so stupid.
It is stupid, and I'm like, look, gay men are not into kids. They're into gay men. They're into men. They're not into kids.
Men who are into men. That's literally it.
Yeah, no, but do you get what I'm saying though? That's the reason why gay adoption is not accepted, because people try to cloud and muddy the water by saying, oh, well, they're a bunch of pedophiles and stuff. And no, that's not the case. That's not the case at all.
Yeah. It's weird how people try to like equivocate being gay and pedophiles. Like there was this whole movement of pedophiles being like they want to be part of the LGBT alphabet. We're like, no,
get out of no.
Get the fuck out. No, thank you.
No, no. That would set you guys back way back.
Yeah.
That
Ugh,
you would not want that at all. And
no.
a matter of fact, I you know, being down here when I was married, there were a lot of the firefighters were gay men and stuff, and they were like guys that you wouldn't even think that were, that stereotypical feminine type. And I know for a fact they would beat the absolute crap out of a pedophile if they saw somebody doing that type of stuff.
Yep.
It's the plain fact. All right, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get on like some
That's fine.
deep conversation there, but that's the thing about it. Even growing up in the South and stuff, I love to talk about topics like this. I know that it might piss off some of my audience and stuff, but I really don't give a fuck. I really don't care.
They should get
really
pissed. They need to get uncomfortable. They need to sit down with that discomfort. It's like, why do I think these things? Why do I feel like this when Tuddle talks about, LGBT issues? So get your audience fucking riled up, man.
Well, and the thing is I talked about, Central Florida, Tampa, St. Pete, Orlando being one of the biggest, gay friendly areas in the whole United States.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things that brought especially Orlando together even more was after the Pulse nightclub shooting and stuff. That really brought the community together big time. I think it did. And it sucks that we had to have a tragedy like that for it to bring the community to more close together. On with me right now is Tim. Now, Tim, back to the sex education.
Mhm.
At what age did you know, like, you were not heterosexual?
I think I've always known that I was not straight. I just never had the language, the label for it, for a long
Would you
time.
get into pansexual? Would you consider yourself more pansexual? Kind of.
No, I'm definitely gay. But like,
Okay.
say on a scale of 1 to 6, like 6 being the gayest and 1 being the straightest, I'm like a 5.9 because
Okay.
hey, you know what? Listen, under the right circumstances, who am I to deny a really hot woman my dick, right? Like, it's for everyone. Whoever wants to ride this ride, right? But when I was like around 6 years old is when I started to become a little more aware of like I like
6.
boys. Yeah, when I like boys as like because I went to an all boys school when I was a kid. So
Yeah.
I'm like these are the kinds of students I'm surrounded. So these are the kinds of students I'm gonna like. So I'm like holding hands with other boys, little boys, and it's not even like a sexual way. It's just like we're hugging and we're holding hands in the playground, and that's like harmless. That's just kids being kids, and I thought that was what was normal. But like, I moved to North America, and I was like, I guess there's like a term for this, and that's gay. I'm like, I guess I'm gay.
How did your parents take it when you?
So it took a while. They are very like conservative Filipino Catholics. So I had to like incept them with little things like listening to Lady Gaga around the house or like Elton John. And then they're like, oh wow, that's great music. It's like, yeah,
You had
did
to
you know
throw
they're
some
also
hands out there. You had to
exactly.
work them in.
Exactly. And then when I came out to them on my 21st birthday, they're like, thank you for telling us. Thank you so much for that. But we love you no matter what. Can you come upstairs? The pizza's getting cold. I'm like, oh, great. They care more about the food than they care about their son's sexuality.
But isn't that great
Awesome.
though? Wasn't that kind of like the parents kind of like, even though they were probably maybe wanting to change the subject by saying, hey, the food's, but they were still like, that was
They love
kind
you
of
no matter
like,
what.
yeah, that was kind of like their, the pizza represented their love
Yeah.
too. And they were like, well, we don't want to let the pizza get cold. And
Cold.
that's just our way of saying we love you,
Yeah.
even though you just came out to us. So we're not going to talk about it. That's just our little nod to be like, we're cool.
We don't
love you no matter what.
We don't care. We love you no matter what. But for me, I was like, God damn it. I wanted the drama. I wanted the fight. But all right, I guess I'll settle for pizza.
So back to what I was saying about, I was wondering what age should see, because this is a very, very touchy subject when I bring this up though.
Mhm.
But like if kids know something, or like should there? You would probably have to wait until the kids were adults, 18.
Mhm.
But like, should there be a sex education for gay or lesbian that would be able to help them out with any confusion they may have? Do you
Like,
think that would be something that would help out? Like, they're not sure. Like they know that they're different, but they don't know, okay? Or they're into something different. Should there be a separate type of sex education? Do you think it would help out with coming out like you did
I don't know if a separate type would be the right way to put it, but rather put all sexualities and genders
together?
together with uh, the curriculum of like naming our parts and knowing what consent is. It should be part of all curriculum. Like, I believe only a few states in the United States allow for medically accurate information, and even with regards to like HIV, only like a handful of states are allowing that. It's like,
Mhm.
why not all the states, right? So it's weird, but yeah, I do believe that uh the LGBTQI entire alphabet should be part of the sex education curriculum to help kids navigate. Because my friend, who was as young as 4 years old, figured out he was trans. I was like, wow, four. You already knew that. Kids are aware. They're really way more intelligent than we give them credit for. They're going to ask questions, and we should be there to guide them.
Well, you kind of opened up the door, so I'm going to slide right in on that one. How do you feel about trans athletes, like men that have that are trans competing in women's sports? Because there's this one swimmer I'm talking about. Okay, so
trans
men,
women.
yeah,
So,
trans women.
yeah.
I see now. Please correct me, okay?
Sure.
So if it's a man that a female that feels like they were born in a man's body, but
Mhm.
they're competing, what is the correct term for that? Is that a trans man or a trans woman?
Well, if they're female and they identify as man, they're a trans man. If they're male, as in they have a penis, and they identify as a woman, that's a trans woman.
Okay, so
Yeah.
trans women competing in, well, I mean, it's women's sports. I'm kind of defeating my whole purpose
for example,
here.
Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
like Caitlyn Jenner, for example, yeah, that's a trans woman. And
Okay.
if say she was younger and she would compete in sports, then she'd be in a women's category for sports.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I try to be very considerate of people's feelings and stuff. And
it's fine. You're not problematic. I will correct you, and
but
I
do
will
you understand
sick the entire Rainbow Mafia
but all right.
if you do become problematic.
but while we're on
It's
that
fine.
though, but people that are learning, people that make mistakes. I've seen
Mhm.
videos all the time of trans women that have gotten insulted because of the wrong pronouns being used.
Mhm.
Do you feel like sometimes that goes overboard though? Like,
Yep,
where
I do.
you do.
I do. So this is where I start to get divided within the LGBT community, because it's like, I personally don't believe that gender exists, and I think that we should just stop using men and women. We're all just like people with different parts. But this is the world we live in. Now, the use of the wrong pronouns, while it can be damaging to the trans experience, I believe that if we do make mistakes, we should be apologetic and correct ourselves and then move forward. And
But it can
so,
do more harm though, can it? Can it do more
to use the wrong
harm?
to use
Well,
the wrong
no,
pronouns
to get
with
upset.
malicious and
Well,
yeah,
I'm
to get upset.
yeah,
Like,
to get
okay,
upset if somebody made a honest mistake.
then yeah, if you're getting upset with someone's honest mistake, that's on the upset person. Like, don't fucking throw a fit all because I accidentally called you she when you use he. Like, don't, like, correct me and then we'll move on, and let's not make a big deal out of it. But like, if say someone continues to misgender a person using the wrong pronouns intentionally with maliciousness, then that
Mhm.
becomes a problem, because it's like, I already told you what pronouns I go by. So why don't you do that? You're like actively trying to erase my experience as a trans person.
Yeah. I wasn't for sure, but I digress.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, my interviews are so like
Oh, that's fine.
ADHD. They're all over the place. So, but back to my thing though, it's how do you feel about trans women competing in female sports? You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
where like, do you think there needs to be some type of
I feel like there needs to be no more gendered sports. Just like put them all together. Like,
okay, but then you're gonna have guys
yeah.
absolutely destroying women.
Yeah, well, no, there's also women that could absolutely destroy men. Like, say, Serena Williams. I bet that she can knock the ball out of the park if she's ever faced against like Roger Federer.
No way.
I
Federer or Djokovic would absolutely come on.
no,
Tim,
Serena.
Tim.
I'm
No.
all for Serena. Look at her fucking serve, her accuracy, her speed. She can knock it out of the park. But that's just me
Yeah.
being
No, that is just
being
you,
like
but come
a
on,
lover.
no. All right. 9 times. You know how you said out on a scale of 6, you're 5.9.
Or nine,
Okay,
yeah.
well, okay, all right. So I would say out of a scale 1 to 10, if they played every 10 times, Serena might win
I think 8 out of 10.
0.1. that 0.1%, because 9.9%. Now there are some men. Now, okay, you would say Serena's at the top of her game. Okay. Now the scrub men, oh yeah, I think Serena could absolutely destroy, but I'm talking about like the people that are on the same level as her on the men category, like Federer or Nadal or Djokovic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. That's
Yeah.
not even
I mean, see, that becomes like an opinion thing, and I'm like, I don't really know much about the logistics of sports and why it's gendered that way. But like, look at it. So if Serena were to face Djokovic in this example, she would beat Djokovic in terms of accuracy and how she like serves. But like Djokovic could beat Serena in strength and speed because of how strong he can do it. So like, you can't really like compare apples to oranges in that way. It's all relative, and you might as well just put the same athletes all in the same category and just let
Okay.
them beat it out.
I'm telling you right now, I want to see LeBron dunk on a bunch of female WNBA basketball players, just like basically hang his nuts on their foreheads while he's dunking, and just be like, "Yeah, suck it."
Does he still play? I don't pay attention to sports. Sorry.
No, I know. Well, Tim, I highly enjoyed this interview. What do you got coming up on your next podcast? What are some of the things you're going to be discussing, or what did you discuss on your last podcast?
So on my last podcast, my latest episode, I discussed harm reduction. So how to do cocaine safely, or if you're gonna like drink, how to do that safely.
I'm big into drugs back in the day. So
yeah.
Like, okay, so I mean, some people have that natural built-in ability to know like their limits. Like, we have a thing down here called the like a white trash speedball here in Florida.
What is
where it's
that?
like, well, it's like, you take a bunch of Adderall, but then you take a Xanny bar or a football to, kind of like that's the whole thing about drugs and everything. You want to get two drugs that are going to fight each other, because that fight is what makes it fun.
Right.
On the inside, so you got to get an upper and a downer that are pretty equal when it comes to the tail of the tape.
Smooth out the rough edges. Yeah.
You want them fighting with each other, and then maybe you want like a little like enhancer, like the referee is like pot. You smoke some pot in between that, because depending on what type of pot, if you get a sativa or an indica, you know what I'm talking about. Hell, the pot is really, really good up in Canada. So I'm sure you guys are.
We got dispensaries left and right here. So even that, we talk about how to do marijuana safely so that you're not.
Oh, wait a minute. Choking. Wait, whoa. Okay. Look, Tim, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not trying to be rude. You don't have to do an episode about having to do marijuana safely. Okay.
No, I mean,
no, you don't. Nobody. Look, okay. Now I will admit, maybe people have died being driving while too stoned and maybe messed up
That's
and
what
got
I
into a
mean.
car
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah.
But nobody's ODing on marijuana.
No.
Like,
It's not so much the ODing or anything, but like, so for example, what we talked about on my episode with marijuana is like,
oil the hinges on
No.
the refrigerator because you're gonna
knock
break
some
the
shit
hinges.
out. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
because you're gonna
no,
be
but-
opening up the door so many times.
No, but more of like, say do edibles instead of smoking from a joint if you're like asthmatic and you still want to.
I got you.
Yeah, things like that. Or like on the topic of cocaine, don't share straws or you might get Hep C. Like if you're gonna.
Oh
be
wait,
snorting,
you can get Hep C from
sharing
straws.
Yeah, if you share.
Yeah,
your
because you
snorting
get a little
straws,
bloody nose. Yeah, and
that's the easiest way for Hep C to enter your system because of
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, see, then you know what? Damn, like I learned something from the cocaine episode. Then
There you go.
I don't. Now, can you use the same $100 bills?
Oh Jesus! If you can, how do you have
Well,
$100 bills flying around?
Well, I was just saying $100 bills because you
No,
were with
don't
high
share that.
clientele and stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
Don't
what
share.
about this? What about this? What about if you're into like Wolf of Wall Street style, where like you're blowing cocaine in somebody's rectum? Are you like using different straws there too, or
You
like,
should
are
always
good on
use
that?
different straws. You should always use different straws per person. Keep your own straw. Don't ever share because you don't want to share bacteria, especially now in the age of COVID. Like,
Yeah.
why even like we were scared of double dipping chips, so don't double dip your straws either.
Now, have you done any of the drugs through the rectal way or no? Like, because I've heard like the experiences. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna even say it. I know that the experience is a little bit,
it's a different experience. It's a different
yeah.
high. It's called a booty bump when you
Yeah.
like shoot up heroin through your anus.
Wait, I've never done that, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So wait. Whoa. So what do you take the needle and
Mhm.
like shoot it into the anus itself, or
Yep.
in like?
Yeah, so that you avoid track marks on your arm and people can hide it.
Hey,
and they
I've
still
heard
get their
about
high.
in between the toes, but you're telling me people are shooting up heroin
Yeah,
in the
it's
rectal?
it's a faster absorption because it's like mucus.
Wow.
It's a mucus membrane, right? So it'll get you high right quick.
Wow,
Mhm.
man, what if that's how like Chris Farley went out? Like he like anyways, Tim, man, I know that this show's not even gonna get monetized on YouTube.
That's fine.
with some of the stuff we've talked about, but it'll be great stuff. I put it up on YouTube either way. So
Sweet.
Tim, hopefully you enjoyed this. Before we go, once again, tell my supporters how they can check out your content.
Sure. So my podcast is Sex Ed with Tim. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Sex Ed with Tim, and my website is guess what? sexedwithtim.com.
Hey, do you put the sex and ed close together enough so it's
Sexed.
like sex
Yep.
with Tim? Yeah.
Yep.
See, I think that was brilliant.
That was part of the branding.
Yeah,
Like,
that
I definitely fucked you. You got
All right,
sexed
Tim.
by me.
All right, Tim. I hope you have a wonderful day, my friend, and let's do this again, okay?
You too, Tuddle. Take care.
And that's the show for today. Thanks for listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hey, don't be a dickhead. Do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. Also, check out the Tuddle category at 315live.com. The Tuddle Daily Podcast is brought to you by Starfire Transport, StitchYouUp.com, and PocketBearClub.com. Special thanks to show producer Vulture and co-host Sirach. Show voiceover service is brought to you by jcvoiceover.com and The Little Cheese Show. Download and subscribe to The Little Cheese Show everywhere podcasts are found. If you want to help support the show, go to paypal.me/TuddleOnTheRadio. You have something you want to say? Tuddle@gmail.com or leave a voicemail at 407-270-3044. To follow all Tuddle social media, go to Tuddle.net. That's Tuddle with 2Ds.net. Thanks again for all your support, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
I get ignorant in normal situations.
What you mean?
What the fuck you mean?
What are you talking about?
Nigga, what the fuck is you talking about?
Oh shit!